healthcare startups such as Africa Health Holdings, AHH, or in the marketplace space, we invested in Africrea from Cote d'Ivoire. And we brought, actually for both AHH and Africrea, we brought Japanese companies listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange to make their first direct investment into the African startups. And they became very important strategic partner for them. For AHH, the Japanese company that invested in them is actually the fastest growing healthcare company from Japan. And they have already acquired similar startup from India. So, we are trying to kind of replicate the roles that these strategic investors can have played in Asia to Africa. And even for Africrea, we brought the Japanese cross-border e-commerce company listed on Tokyo Stock Exchange to also invest in Africrea. So yeah, this is like example of actually how we are bringing strategic investors from Japan. And maybe in the communication space, we invested in Tarmi, which like African version of Twilio. So
that's incredible.
So we are sector agnostic, and we have invested in different startups so far.
That's incredible. I think I know African Health Holding is with Sango Delhi, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the great guy. Great, amazing, smart guy too. Yes, and it's a Harvard grad too, so I guess there's some familiarity with that. That is amazing. That's amazing. As you guys are thinking of, you guys started in 2019, 2020.
Yeah, end of 2018 we started. Yeah.
End of 2018. So that has been over like four or five years.
Yeah, almost like, yeah.
So the next 5 years, what are you guys thinking of? You guys are based now in Nigeria, Kenya. Are you guys double downing on those both areas? Are you guys thinking of scaling other African countries? And I know there was a vertical that you kind of mentioned at some point. How is what's the next the next phase of thinking?
So yeah, ecosystem has growing so fast in the past 4 or 5 years, and now the bottleneck is no more seed stage. I think we are seeing more and more small funds investing in seed stage, and we are seeing global investors like Tiger Global or Sequoia or Andreessen Horowitz or SoftBank coming to the later stage. So we feel Series A and Series B are kind of left behind, and we need to support these Series A, Series B startups very intensively. Otherwise, these seed stage startups cannot go up to Series A, Series B. They need larger check size for investment, but they also need support to fuel their growth. And what they need at seed stage and growth phase is quite different. And we think bringing strategic investors are more relevant for these growth phase startups, because these strategic investors can share the operational excellence and provide global network to expand beyond their original markets to other markets. And they can also provide strong brand, which startups don't have. And as I said, with our Fund 2, which just started investing and which will continue investing for the next 3-4 years, partnered with a Nigeria-based PE fund called Verot. And we are running this Fund 2 in the joint venture. And we believe that the expertise of PE fund to provide hands-on support to SMEs can be institutionalized in the VC context and apply their expertise for the growth phase startups, even like providing operational support, strategic support, providing back office services, giving them guidelines for how to, maximize the impact, or how to, bring more structure and governance to the growth phase companies in the management and the board structure, or how to manage with regulators. All these, know-how can be, we can learn from the PE's expertise. So we are now trying to combine PE's expertise and our Asian strength. So that is very laser focused to support Series A, Series B startups.
Yeah, I can agree with you more. I think that is the right space, and I think that is what, for my just opinion, I think that is what's needed, and it's just amazing that you guys are providing that. So I'm so excited for you. I think this is going to be really exciting next few years. So as we're wrapping up this episode, I just wanted you to just these questions now are more of like inspirational questions. Just give people a context of, where you draw your strength from, what advice you give to entrepreneurs as they apply, and if there's any advice you've received that has really helped you think about how to be a better VC slash PE individual in this space. So just one thing I would love to get your feedback. So what advice will you give to entrepreneurs as they build their businesses, maybe in Nigeria or across Africa? What's one thing that you say, or maybe two, or something general that you tell them, like, this is something you should focus on? And you have said something before about just you're having great insights, but if there's anything else you want to add.
I think now the startups are getting obsessed with like hyper growth and and fundraising a lot, because all the news headlines are about the valuation and the amount of fundraising. But we know the limitation of like blitz scaling, and especially in Africa, because public infrastructure is not so available, you have to take time to build your business. And if you try to grow too quickly, you end up doing everything to build the infrastructure around you by yourself, and you become very asset heavy, and you have to keep fundraising. And you shouldn't forget that your strength comes from your real moat, and moat comes from like how you can serve your customers in a unique way. So I think sometimes growing too fast is not the best way for the startups. And also I sometimes feel like there is more like a kind of lack of a bit discipline, because the capital is flowing into the ecosystem too fast with large amount. And some startups start to invest in other peer startups at very early stage. And I'm not going to judge it. Maybe it's a great evidence of the ecosystem becoming more collaborating and founders starting to help each other. But I think there is also maybe negative aspects, because because money is flowing into the ecosystem, our mindset is becoming like, okay, we should bet on this and that, and even if this one doesn't go well, I can maybe still back up by betting on different things. And if mindset becomes prevalent among the entrepreneurs, because now founders are investing in other startups a lot, I think it's a lack of discipline. So I think we should really focus on what we need to build, and we shouldn't forget about building the moat. That is the most important driver of your growth. So you shouldn't compromise on moat. Don't just rely on fundraising a lot and just growing too quickly, because at some point you hit the ceiling and you can't grow from there. And even after seeing like many unicorns coming out of Africa, like last year alone, we had maybe 6 or 7 unicorns. But we shouldn't also forget that the biggest amount of exit by African startups so far is not more than $500 million. So, you might get stranded if you just keep growing, getting higher valuation. Then like, how do you make exit? Can you really make an IPO, or can you convince someone to acquire your business at such a high amount? I doubt it. And even if you follow the stock price of Jumia or other startups, maybe Fauri or Mudundo, sometimes it's difficult for the US or European public stock market to appreciate the reality of the business in Africa. So there is misalignment between the reality and the stock price, even after making